of our military and first responders can have these same very similar issues. Basically, the issues can be anything from PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
In these high-volume wartime efforts, they see and experience things that is absolutely unbelievable.
Horrific.
My friend John Wells here is a Vietnam veteran, and he has been suffering from the same type of PTSD for 40 years, undiagnosed from the Vietnam War. So what happened with my brother-in-law, because of the PTSD and also TBI, which is traumatic brain injury, because he was hit by an IED, his brain rattled around a few too many times. So what happens then is they feel very uncomfortable because of flashbacks, because of night terrors, because of just overall general anxiety. What that can lead to is panic attacks. What that means is going out of their home is very, very difficult. And my brother-in-law, much like John, had become a prisoner in his own home, being very uncomfortable in any public place, which really restricted John and my brother-in-law from going out and being with his family and enjoying even events with myself and the rest of my family. So the PTSD is the emotional issue that he went through. He also, the left side of his body was damaged. He lost part of his left thigh. Also a lot of shrapnel in his face. His left hand was actually detached. They had to reattach it. He's had, I think, 64 surgeries now to reattach his hand. Still doesn't have complete feeling, but he can now feel hot and cold. So,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. A nerve grows.
Who did the hand surgeries, just out of curiosity?
They were all done at Walter Reed.
Oh, they were done in the Naval Hospital.
And basically most of them were done there. There may have been a few when he was in Pennsylvania as well, but he's had so many over the years. I mean, it's been since 2007. He's had 64 surgeries, so a little bit all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, what happened because of his physical injuries is mobility and stability issues.
Yes.
The left side of his body is very weak. He doesn't have very good use of his hand. And that's a lot of our military veterans and first responders have very similar issues.
Yes.
So what happened in 2007 is my sister called me and said, I'd really like to get Chuck a service dog. Would you help me? So I went on the search for a service dog, and I found him a Labrador Retriever. We are not just bent on Labrador Retrievers. It can really be any breed. We just like the happy, goofy temperament. That's
what this one has.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
She's happy and goofy.
Both of these two have never met a stranger, which is good and bad.
Well, I've got my bare foot on her back right now.
Well, thank you for placating to her
giving
she
her
will
a
enjoy
little
that.
foot massage down here.
Right.
She's loving
I think you put her to
every minute of
sleep. She's out.
Well, I can tell you that if
Well
I
done.
touch Brady with my bare feet, he jumps like he's been, bitten by a snake. I don't know what the deal is there, but
Some dogs can be a little hypersensitive.
she
that's
likes
for sure.
it. She definitely likes it.
That's
so
unreal.
go ahead. So you did a search and you came up with what?
I found a yellow Labrador, and we raised him as a puppy. And what he ended up doing for Chuck is a couple different things that I've learned with him and then took into the veterans that I've helped so far. Emotional support. The PTSD, the TBIs can cause a lot of emotional issues, anxiety, panic attacks in public. So one of the things that Cash does, we also taught Major, which is an at ease command. At ease, basically, if John puts his head in his hands, gets a little uncomfortable, starts having a panic attack, Cash will come up and paw at him, lick him in the face. If he still doesn't pop out of it, he'll jump in his lap. He's basically saying, hey, man, it's okay. So instead of us petting our dogs pet us to help us
just
relax.
Amazing?
And then John's tail starts wagging. It's great.
I had to do it last night, so
Aw.
I don't know why I was upset, but it just was.
Do you have a
to
night terror?
utilize that.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
It must have been. So, David, what I'm really curious about, and while you answer this question for me, I'm going to run around the table there and change a microphone because I'm not hearing what David has or what John has to say.
Okay.
Tell me what the basic premise of Dogs Helping Heroes is. Are you looking for people to support you in the training of the dogs? Are you looking for veterans to provide the dogs to? What is your basic mission statement?
The basic mission statement is, number one, we are looking for rescue dogs. Rescue to place them with wounded veterans or first responders that have disabilities that these dogs can help mitigate. Our main mission right now is to find veterans and first responders that are in need of a service animal to help mitigate these disabilities. So there's a lot of veterans. We get one of two answers when a veteran says they don't need a service dog. One, they believe somebody else needs it more than they do.
Oh, yeah.
Or two, they don't need the help.
Yeah.
So we run into that more often than anything else. So one of our biggest things right now is to find, that's better, is to get in touch with wounded veterans or first responders that are in need of a trained service dog.
Yeah. That's the key right there.
Correct. So
John, do me a favor.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to just keep trying until this works. Go ahead, Scott. David. Scott's your dad's name. Isn't that awful?
That's all right. It's my middle name. It's all
I
good.
know, but it's just terrible that I keep calling you by your dad's name.
It depends
Sometimes
on a
it
lot
takes
of different
long
factors.
Time. Sometimes it takes little time at all.
Correct. John, it was about from time of application to placement, correct me if I'm wrong, was about 6 months, correct?
6 months, correct.
Yep.
That's not too bad.
Not at all.
No.
And because we're a newer organization, our awareness is growing, thank God. But at the same time, our waiting list is not very long at all because not too many people are aware of us yet.
Hopefully people will become more aware
Yes.
as a result of being on the show today.
That would
And
be great.
I am very glad to know that you are here. And John, I want to ask you a question. And first of all, I want to thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
How long were you in country?
I was in there just a little over a year.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. What was your role in
I was a medic with or corpsman, as they call it, with the Marine Corps, the 1st Marine Division.
Yeah, very tough job.
Yeah, it wasn't fun, but I did the job best I could, and I stayed in country the whole time. I didn't take R&R because I was pretty dedicated to helping the Marines. And then during the daytime, I went to the village outside and took care of the Vietnamese people too. So, and then at night it was patrols. You went on patrol.
You
at
had
night,
to.
so.
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you for your service, and I cannot wait to hear more about how you and Johnny Cash get along. It sounds great. This is taking you home on the afternoon drive. It's just about 4:15. Our weather forecast is looking a little hot, guys. Hot and humid. Chance of thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon from now all the way through Tuesday. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s every day and low to mid 70s every night. Plenty of sunshine, but as I said, with all that heat and humidity, there's always a chance that we're going to see a thunderstorm popping up. We are underway with Waggin Wednesday, and of course that means we have to play our theme song that we have stolen from Nick Pay. This is my favorite song, and soon will be yours, David Benson.
Yes.
A Day in the Life of My Dog.
I like it.
I wake up 9:30. The sun is shining and I'm feeling fine. I get up, go downstairs, and out the back door in the morning air. Walk around my backyard, smell the flowers, shout at passing cars. I lay down right in the grass, happy not to let this moment pass. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best day ever. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best day ever. Hey, let's go for a walk. Nothing fancy, just around the block. When we get back, we'll go inside, but maybe later we can take a ride. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best day ever. Whatever the watch TV. And when it's time to go to bed, I'll close my eyes and wait to start again. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best day ever. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best day ever. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best day. The best day ever. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best. It's gonna be the best day ever. Whatever the weather, it's gonna be the best day.
Best day ever. I love that song. I am so happy. That's Brady talking, by the way. Just in case you didn't. I love that song. It's my favorite song in the whole wide world. I'm 90 pounds, but I talk like I'm a baby.
Yeah, I like it.
I got neutered a little too early. That's the story he tells anyway. Tara Bassett in with you. It's 18 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock with 91 degrees. My guest this afternoon, Dogs Helping Heroes on Waggin Wednesday. David Benson is the executive director. Hospitalman Third Class, John Wells, a Vietnam veteran, is one of the guys who is amazing. He's with this fantastic dog named Johnny Cash. And Johnny is so lucky to have you as his friend, his compatriot, his fellow soldier in the fight. And you just shared with me that you are now battling, besides the PTSD of the Vietnam War, Parkinson's disease.
Yes.
Share with me the challenges that you are facing each day, John, that maybe Johnny Cash is instrumental in helping you with.
Well, most of them are just the panic attacks, and now when I get up in the morning, I don't know, my whole body's kind of stiff, and then I'm not remembering a lot of stuff that I should be, names and stuff like that. So.
Well, as I said, I'm Tara. Don't ever forget it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm having trouble with names too, so just, you're not alone.
But I live by myself, and since I had Cash, which has been a little over a year, it's I fell in love with this dog after the first week. Period. I mean, I'd do anything for him, and I'd like to keep him around forever. I just wished he would talk to me, but he won't do that. But
we need Dr. Doolittle
Yeah,
immediately.
I like
Dr.
that.
Doolittle stat.
Stat. Get us
So-
some Eddie Murphy.
So what happens when you have a panic attack, John?
well, I feel I get real nervous all over. As you can tell, I'm pretty nervous anyway.
Oh, you don't have to be. It's just
But,
us. Just us chickens.
I can feel it in my throat, and I get real panicky, and I get kind of like I'm crowded and
Sure.
just really kind of insecure, and it's from living a year in Vietnam, and
Yes.
when you go to sleep at night, you didn't know if you were going to wake up in the morning, and that to me is it's in my mind, and
Absolutely.
and the Marines I had to take care of in the field and out of the field, and they've died in my arms, and to this day, that memory still haunts me,
I can imagine.
and it's rough. But Cash is just really, I kind of concentrate on him a lot, and it's just a great. And I love doing stuff for the veterans.
I bet.
So, and with David and Dogs Helping Heroes, it's really, really great for me, because otherwise I wouldn't, I have a hard time getting out.
Sure. I can imagine why.
Well, I wound up going out thinking I'm going to go to a restaurant, and then I wound up just coming home because I don't want to deal with it,
Yeah.
and I deal with the people. So.
Does Cash like to go out and have dinner with you?
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah,
What's his favorite? Hometown buffet?
No, yeah. Well, he's on sweet potatoes. That's all he eats is sweet potatoes. He doesn't get any dog food or table food, but
He does get dog food, though.
yeah, he
Sweet,
does
sweet
get
potato and bison, like natural balance, kind of.
right.
Yeah, that's what
right.
mine eat.
It's Merrick, and it's really helped.
Good stuff.
He goes under the table. You don't even know he's there till he comes out. And I just like to look at people when he comes out because they said that, was he under
No
that
idea
table?
his dog was there.
'Cause he's huge.
Did you say he was Lab Dane?
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
that's what Brady is.
Mhm.
Is he what does he weigh? About 90 pounds?
Yeah, it fluctuates between 90 and 100.
Yeah.
Depending on
that's-
how many sweet potatoes he gets.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody wants to feed him.
So, John, what is the reaction when you explain to people what Cash's role is in your life and your role in his life?
When people ask me about Cash, most of them don't understand that there's really only two questions they can ask me. As far as going in a restaurant, they can ask me if he's a service dog, and what does he provide for me, and that's all they can ask. A lot of the kids love to pet him. He's a lab. He loves to be loved on. And
Do you let him be petted?
Oh yeah. You should be able. If they come up and ask me, "Can I pet your dog?"
Yes.
And a lot of them do. But some of them, they just jump right in there and start petting him anyway.
Well, he is clearly a service dog with a camo service dog vest with the seal, with the flag, with what is he, a sergeant?
Yeah.
He's
that's
a sergeant.
Sergeant in the Marine Corps.
Sergeant Johnny Cash. That's pretty awesome. What is Lexi going to be, David?
Lexi is going to be a service dog for a gentleman, actually a good friend of. Oops, we ruined it. He's probably listening. A good friend of John Wells,
Yeah.
Jay Proctor.
Cool.
We haven't told him yet. He knows he's getting a dog, but he doesn't know which one and when.
Well, he does now.
Now he does. So
Cat's out of the bag.
Which
Yeah.
is so cool.
So-
I mean, what is her rank going to be?
I think she'll be a sergeant as
Also,
well. Yeah,
good.
we'll just get that nice
We have to have
top
parity
rank.
between the genders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want one above the other. 'cause
And pay.
Yeah.
Because
will
he,
be the same.
Yeah,
he
equal
and Jay
pay.
are good
Exactly.
friends, and they're going to give each other a hard time no matter what.
That's
so.
awesome.
That's
I'm
one
so
less
happy.
thing they'll have to fight over is rank.
Well, and these two obviously get along together very well,
this
so
is
that
the-
should be a beauty.
Yeah, the first time they've ever been around each other, too.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! You'd thought they'd have been, kin.
Nope. She just got out of prison this morning.
That's so cute.
So,
So when does a puppy go? She's around 2, you said, right?
2 years old. Mhm.
When does an animal go into a prison program like the one that we have?
Basically, with Cash, he was just under 10 months. Basically, he was a little bit young, but we kept him in there about 4 months till he was a little bit over 12. And then once after 12 months old, then he went to professional dog training center. So
Wow.
we like to keep it around that 12 months of age, so they're out of the main puppy stage. But anywhere from 1 to 3 years old, that we can go ahead and enter into that first part of training.
That's so incredible. What is involved in training specifically? What did Cash go through? Tell me his entire routine.
Sure. Well, where he started, which is where he got his name, he was found behind a rental home that had been abandoned. And he was in a little wooden box out behind this house, and luckily the landlords found him before it was too late. He was emaciated, had not had food or water in quite a while. He's in this little wooden prison out behind this house. And so when they found him, they contacted Peace of My Heart Rescue. And Lauren Howard nursed him back to health. Once he was nursed back to health, she started to really see some attributes in him that I look for in service dogs. So she contacted me wanting to do an evaluation of him to see if he was going to fit our program. Upon meeting him, I did a couple different evaluations, one at our training center and then one at a public place that was out at Bass Pro Shop, and really got a good feel for him just kind of inside and out. And I decided, yep, I think he needs to go into the first stage of our training process.
By the way, I love Bass Pro Shop
Oh,
because
yeah.
I can take all my dogs there at
It's
once.
fantastic, isn't
Yeah,
it?
they have such a great environment, and all the employees are so friendly, and people are over there walking their dogs.
Yep, it's a great training ground too because you got an
Yeah.
elevator, you've got stairs, you've got all kinds of different wildlife that's stuffed.
I know. They stood there
So-
and just looked at this. I don't remember what it was, a wolf or something.
Right.
They were just
Like, what
looking at
is
it like,
that?
what in the world? That
Right.
was so funny.
It's a fun adventure of a
So
place.
you took him out on 2 training runs, basically.
And then I determined that he did have what we were looking for, which is just that happy, go lucky, goofy temperament, loves people a little bit too much. sometimes. But he's also very trainable. Just with a few minutes of giving him some treats and kind of guiding him into a sit, he was very willing to please, really excited about the training process. So I knew he was very malleable in the training. So from there, then with his size already at about 10 months, I knew he was going to meet the criteria eventually of 60-plus pounds. So we had everything that we were looking for. Then we put him into the prison training program, and he had his own inmate handler.
Did he stay with him all the time?
He does.
Lives with him and everything,
Yep.
huh?
They have single cells. That's one of the basically amenities that they get is they're not double bunked.
Wow.
So these dogs are absolutely spoiled rotten. And these are all non-violent criminals. You know, they're in there typically for drug charges. And one of the reasons I love this program is because these inmates cannot give back to society as a whole, but this is one way that they can give back. Most of the dogs that are in there are rescue dogs, and all of yours are rescue, is that correct?
They all came from Kentucky Humane Society.
Okay. And at the time that he was in there, it was the Humane Society of Oldham County.
Right.
And-
Great organization.
Yep. And that's where Lexi came out of as well. And
And she's passed out lying on my foot.
yes,
FYI.
she's had a very long day.
Obviously.
She's been all over the place.
and Johnny's
today.
passed out over there next to his dad.
Yeah, they've been having a good time today
Cool.
for sure. But basically, Cash was there for several months, and basically the guys lay down some obedience, some manners, formal commands: heel, sit, stay down, come, not jumping on visitors, not running outdoors. Basically, just being a well-rounded dog, much like we worked on with your kids.
Exactly.
But then from there, the next piece of the puzzle is some service dog commands. What John was talking about earlier is having panic attacks.
Right.
And there was one situation where John was on his way to the VA center, for example, and on the way to the VA center, he got caught in traffic. Now, for us, it causes stress. For him, it causes panic attacks.
Sure.
So as he got to the VA center, what will happen is he'll put his head in his hands, get uncomfortable, and then Cash will see that and come up and start licking him, pawing at him, jumping on him, basically petting him, saying, hey, it's okay, calm down. The most interesting part about this situation was there was another veteran about 15 feet from him that had his head in his hands, and without John saying anything, Cash pops up, goes over, and starts pawing at the guy and saying, hey, man, it'll be okay.
I didn't know what was going on.
Isn't that amazing?
And he told me, when I asked him, I said, Jesse, something's going on. Cash would just not get up and come over to you, and he denied it. But then after the meeting was over with, he got up, and I asked him again, and he started crying. And, you know, for Jesse to cry, he was
Under a lot of stress.
Yeah, it was, you know, it's hard on me because I get so much into these guys and
Yes.
and the veterans. And,
Yeah.
it was really upsetting.
Well,
So.
tell me what you do up at the VA. Besides just go for services, I mean, do you have groups of people that you get together with at their support areas?
Yeah, I do at the vet center, which
Okay.
is down on 3rd Street. There's a big group of us. There's a lot of groups, but the group I've been going to is on Wednesday, and I've been seeing these guys for like 5 or 6 years. But
Awesome.
the worst part, the hardest part is watching these guys get sick.
Yeah.
Just about everyone in the group has something wrong with them between Parkinson's. There's only about 12, 15 of us. And I know there's 3 of us have Parkinson's. One just died from ALS.
Agent Orange?
It's all Agent Orange related. And
Yeah.
it's just prostate cancer has been a big one. The one fellow, Thomas Philpott, he's got leukemia and had to go down to somewhere in Tennessee, Nashville, to get treatment, but doing real well now. But
Good.
everything is we're just dying off, and it is what it is. I guess it's my favorite saying. I can't
It's tough, though.
do
And
anything about
the
it.
vet center is a separate entity from the VA. Yes?
Well, no,
Or associated?
it's part of the
It's
VA,
part of it,
but
okay.
it is kind of like an island in a big ocean. It's still by itself with its own people.
Where is it located?
It's down on South 3rd Street.
South 3rd Street. Okay. That would be a good thing for people who are listening to know. So
Yeah.
that could they come just to have conversation
All you do
with
is,
you?
if you're a veteran, you can come in
Just
there
drop in.
and have a cup of coffee and talk to Al Snyder. He's the man that runs the place. He's a veteran, still in the Army. He's a
Wow.
major, so you got to be nice.
Yes.
And all the people down there love Cash to death. I
yeah,
mean,
I
it's
can
just
imagine.
wherever I take Cash, he's just automatically, like he knows
drawn to
everybody.
him.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen other service dogs with veterans at this point?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've helped a couple of them get dogs already. So, and it's great.
How many have you actually placed already, David?
6 so far with this
Awesome.
organization, and there was 2 before that that were private donations, which is one of the reasons that we exist.
yeah.
And that was kind of an interesting turn of events. There was one gentleman that came in, one veteran that came in with some private funding on it himself, and we trained a service dog for him. And then he brought in one of his brothers in arms, and we went on a search for a private donation and got the training for that dog for him. And then we were honored with the Military Order of a Purple Heart Patriot Award.
Oh.
And what then happened is, as I was talking about this, and then it hit the TV, basically it was on a couple local radio station or TV stations. Then we had more veterans kind of flooding us with wanting service dogs.
Sure.
The problem was there was no funding.
Right.
So
And it costs a lot to train these animals, doesn't it?
our organization we are trying to keep the cost as low as possible. There are a lot of organizations out there that are doing wonderful things and not taking anything away from what they're doing, but they can be upwards of $15,000 to $50,000.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have breeding programs. So what they're doing is they're starting with 8-week-old puppies and going up to 2 years old before they're placing them. So they're incurring a lot of cost during that time.
Sure.
A lot of them have full-blown facilities as well and paid staff. We don't have any paid staff. Everyone is volunteer. And we're subcontractors, so we don't have an actual facility. We subcontract out to professional dog training centers, and the prison program helps us with the baseline training, which helps save us costs there as well. So all of any funding that we get goes to training the dog, taking care of the dog, and also training the hero. So our cost on average right now is around $3,500. So where some organizations,
It's
again,
15 to 50, right?
correct. And so that's one of my goals our goals is to place many more dogs for a lower cost. So any dollar that comes into us, it goes a lot further.
But this is done at this point at zero cost to the veteran.
Correct.
Hang on just a second with more. We're going to be talking to David Benson and John Wells. We appreciate both of them being here today. They're with Dogs Helping Heroes, and it sounds like we got 2 heroes going here. Meanwhile, if you'd like to get a hold of
100.2.
some music tonight, this is what you need to do.
Let's take a look at the WCHQ concert view for Wednesday, August 24th. Tonight over at Diamond's Pub in St. Matthews, we have Mr. Petar Mandic. Right across the street at Gerstl's, you can catch Kemet and Doug. Down at the River House, we have Miss Tanita Gaines. Stevie Ray's Blues Bar has the Blues Drifters. Over at the Melwood Tavern, we have Heidi Howe and Mr. Danny Flanagan. You're going to be at the State Fair tonight. Check out Robbie Bartlett, the Killer Lips, the Louisville Crashers over at the Bud Tent. Over at the Q Tent, you can catch the Wolf Brothers, Goldilocks, and the Billy Davis Group. Over at the Savory Music Tent, they have the Potluck Ramblers, Smoke, Taylor Lynch, and the Insane Outlaws. Over at the Kentucky Bourbon Bites and Brew Tent, we have Me and You and Dirty Uncle with 3D.
This has been your WCHQ Concert View. If you've got a show you'd like to let us know about, go to CrescentHillRadio.com and hit the icon at the top of the screen that says List Your Gig.
Bryce and Kevin every morning, 7 to 9 a.m. Keep us busy. Keep us informed. I'll tell you what, David is a great guy. David
Thank
Benson.
you.
And I've known him for a while because he actually took a stab at trying to tame my pack.
The dogs were easy.
I know. It's just me. And
You were fun.
Hospitalman Third Class John Wells joins us. He's known as Doc to all of his friends who came with him from Vietnam and the many Marines that he took care of in country. And the panic attacks really became crippling to the point that you really couldn't go out of the house. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and I didn't know it. I mean, I had no clue that I was diagnosed with PTSD back in 2003, and I've been single since mid-'70s, and I didn't know that this was how much this was affecting me. But then when I I look at the the list. I'm check every one of them off.
Gosh,
And-
isn't that amazing?
and
And that's one of the things with a lot of these veterans is they don't realize the state that they're in. And
Right.
one of the reasons they don't contact us is because they're homebound and they don't have a lot of contact with outsiders. There was one veteran that I just got an application in the other day. He has been in seclusion in his apartment for, I think, almost 6 months. And when he finally reached out, he reached out to his mother, and she finally went over to see him. She actually drove in from Pennsylvania, and he had lost like 15, 16 pounds. He hadn't eaten very much at all, and he was just not in his right head already because of PTSD and TBI, but then also malnutrition. But now, with his mother's help, he's feeling much better. He finally filled out our application.
Good.
He's wanting to get a dog, so there's some beautiful things on the horizon for him. We're very excited.
That is very exciting news. And, I've been sitting here listening to John talk, and I've been sitting here looking at you, and you and I have also met someplace before.
yeah, I saw that when he was walking down the
Isn't that
sidewalk.
funny?
I thought, I know you from
Yeah,
somewhere.
so we got to figure out. Do you know Walt Oster, who works with the Arrow Fund by any chance?
No.
Oh,
I know
man,
Walt.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy. He was also he's actually in a police squad that goes and finds the guys
Team 12.
who are doing the
Yeah.
dog abuse and dog fighting, and he brings their butts in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Wow.
him. Have you
Yeah.
worked with him before?
I have.
David?
He had come over to the training center. He and a couple of the other guys from their team, and he's a go-getter.
Yeah, he
They're
is.
out there doing some good for animals, and it's been it was amazing to be in contact with him and
Yeah.
really work with him for a little while. So
I hear somebody peeping under the table. Who
probably
is
a
that?
Cash.
You think that's Cash peeping at you,
I think
John?
no,
Yeah.
he's dreaming.
He's
out.
streaming. Has to be Lexi then.
Yeah, it might be.
I'm sorry that our streaming viewers, because this is streaming live to
Oh.
YouTube, so we have video running, and we can see the top of Cash with his little vest on. We cannot see Lexi at all. So
All
what
right.
I'm going to do, just for fun, is I'm going to try to get Lexi to come out this side.
Mm-hmm.
While you tell me a little bit about what her life has been so far on
Okay.
her path to being a training dog.
All right.
Come here, Lexi.
Basically, Lexi and her sister were found as strays out in Oldham County, and they were brought into the Humane Society of Oldham County. And what they were then happened was they were placed in the prison program just as standard rescues to going to a home. But once I saw Lexi and her sister, basically we evaluated them as service dogs and were able to determine that they were going to fit the mold for what we needed. She's now been in the prison training program for the last couple months, and well, she likes you a little bit.
She's so excited and so cute.
Yes, she is. And basically from the prison training program, just got her out today, and she will
She was
now.
just sprung.
She was sprung. She was. And actually, we shot some pictures of me running out the prison with both the dogs. So we'll hopefully be putting that on our
Prison
Facebook page. Yes, as long as the warden allows it. We got to get it past the
Oh
warden.
my God, she is
But-
so cute. So I'm going to just keep moving the camera into places that you actually can see these two dogs
Sure.
because they're just amazingly
Hi,
beautiful.
Mama.
Yeah, last year we got to go out there. They had a little picnic for us, and I got to
At the prison?
go out
Yep.
to prison and meet the inmates that were training Cash and other
Aw.
dogs. And boy, they just treated us like, everything.
Kings and queens.
Oh, yeah.
They're
He's
very-
even got a badge.
He does.
Man, that dog is official.
It's his service badge.
He could get in anywhere.
He can
There
fly
he
on a
is.
plane. He can go anywhere that any of us can go.
Isn't that amazing?
long as it
So
does-
now we can see you guys. I'm going to just get out of the shot here and let you guys see the beauty of this animal. He really reminds me a lot of Brady. He's got that great big block head, and he's beautiful and tall, and he's got that sweet personality. And tell me about the how do you judge temperament, David? I mean, that's kind of an odd one to ask because
Yeah.
every dog is different like every human, but what kind of a dog is going to make a good service dog?
Sure. If you put it into human terms, it makes it even easier. And then if you
Seven.
put yourself
Seven.
in the dog's mind. For example, we've all met. That's the at ease command.
Yeah.
Basically, if you've ever walked up to a person and said hello, and they kind of back up, kind of big-eyed, and all you've done is say hello, they have a little bit of a defensive or shy kind of temperament. Dogs are much the same. So as I approached both of these dogs, Mr. Cash came up and was, "Hey, how are you? Good to see you." Happy tail wag. His head is up, tail is high. He's excitable, just wiggling himself 16 ways of silly.
Is that him?
Oh, yes. And he said, "I'm talking about you, man."
Big stretch. He loves it.
And so what happens if a dog is shy or unsure is you will see their head tuck. Sometimes you will see their hair come up on their back. It's called their hackles. You will see their tail go down underneath their body. And you will see their whole body actually kind of crux towards the ground. That's more of a submissive posture or a fearful posture. So that happy-go-lucky, goofy temperament is what we're looking for in number one. Number two.
He's licking the microphone stand.
Yes.
Checking there. You know, I'm wondering if he thinks that microphone is a threat to you, John. He's kind of looking at it strangely.
He said, "Is that a weapon? What's
Yeah,
going on
I'm
here?"
wondering.
He gets pretty scared when he, walking by a garbage can or a motorcycle. It really scares him. So I don't know if that's
He's got a little PTSD himself, doesn't
exactly.
he?
One
Yeah.
of the tricky
100%.
parts to a rescue is it depends on the situation that they come through.
Yes.
So initially, when he was uncomfortable with things like that, what we do is continue to walk him past, continue to give him treats, and over time he'll start to relax, get more comfortable, and realize it's not the devil coming to kill him.
Desensitization.
Yep, that's a little loosey there. So desensitizing him to those distractions is extremely, extremely important. But as the dogs mature and they get further in the training program, those objects they get more and more comfortable with, and eventually it's really not that big of a deal.
Well, obviously, these two are doing a great job. And as I said just now, Lexi is letting me rub her entire back. Look at that. You can see my foot on camera. Just she's
said, "I'm
rubbing
getting a
her
little
back.
antsy, too."
She's so cute and she's so sweet. Well, it's okay, Lexi, because you only have 18 minutes left.
She said
So
it's almost.
do not panic. You are going to be just fine.
A couple other things that these dogs do is also for the stability and mobility.
Yeah.
So basically, John, we were at Borden Elementary on Monday morning and doing a demonstration for 300 kids. And when we did that, in the middle of the room, John had gotten down to show the at ease command, where Cash comes up and paws at him, licks him in the face. Well, then John looks at me and goes, "I can't stand up." Because of his Parkinson's and his issues from wartime effort, he has a difficult time standing up.
Yeah.
So what Cash will do is called a support command. What support means is stand broadside in front of him. So as John's in the middle of the gymnasium, and again, I would have helped him if he needed it, but he's got the Cash man to help him.
Exactly.
He stands broadside in front of him so he can actually pick himself up.
Oh, my God.
So as he picks himself up, basically what Cash does is just stabilize. That's why we have the 60-plus pound rule.
Oh,
Because
right.
we need a dog sizable enough to help
Yes.
these heroes out.
Oh, I can't imagine.
From there, also mobility. We have a dog that we're in training right now. Unfortunately, this veteran has had a stroke and half of his body is paralyzed, so he's wheelchair bound. The dog will be out in front of him, almost like a drafting cart or a horse and buggy. And as he's going up a handicap ramp or up a hill, the dog will actually pull him up that hill. So
Dang.
The mobility part is very important, helping him upstairs, all kinds of different things.
Well, he's very attached to you, John.
Oh, yeah. They're
Oh,
buddies.
yeah.
And I think you're very attached to him.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Okay, so can he sleep with you at night, or does he have to
Yes,
sleep in his own bed?
The first couple of months, he kind of got in the corner of the room. Well,
What's he telling you right now?
He's telling me that I'm a little panicky, but,
I see
it is
that.
what
Which,
it
you know
is.
what? You've been relaxing as we've talked.
Well, yeah, probably as
Yeah.
I go along, I'll get more relaxed. And, I even got up and talked at a meeting that Dave didn't make it to, and I don't get up in front of people.
I
and
think you're doing beautifully.
So a year ago.
It's amazing. Excuse me, David.
go ahead.
I just was observing, though. It's amazing how Cash stood up and it began to put his paw up on John's lap and began to put his head across so John could pet him and pet the back of his neck. And he is kind of petting you.
Yeah.
Actually, he's nuzzling you. He's
And
giving
he
you
knows
something
I don't
to
have
do.
any treats in my pocket.
Then he's working for free. That's even better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
That's
much so.
fantastic. Go ahead, please, David.
A little over a year ago, John has been very kind to give back to our organization in events like this and anytime we go anywhere. And for the first probably 6 or 7 that we did, he did not feel comfortable to talk at all, which is completely understandable. But over time, just like today, he is once again making me very happy that he's talking as much as he is. And there was a situation where I couldn't make an event, and I asked him to go in my stead and just be there, be present to represent us. And the next thing you know, he's actually doing a demonstration for us. So it was absolutely phenomenal. And that's one of the things that makes me so happy about these guys is they're really coming to life. They're really getting out in public. They're really enjoying what they have been missing for all these years. And even from my standpoint, they're giving back even more than I could ever hope for, because John does take cash to hospitals to visit other veterans and use them as a therapy dog. So I'm very happy about that.
Well, that's pretty cool. And, I'm trying to get her over in front of the couch, obviously, because then she's got a little bit of lighter colored background. If she stays in front of my white slacks, she will also be more easily identified. But I tell you what, it's amazing to watch, and I just have been observing Cash during this time, and I'm also thinking that this little girl is trying really, really hard, and she's learned a lot, but I don't know, it seems like she's almost got a little anxiety herself with the peeping.
She's new into the training program.
Yes.
So this is all things that still need to be ironed out. She's a young pup. She's full of energy. She still hasn't completely learned how to control herself yet. So that's why we're not done with the training process.
Not by
and
any
that's why
stretch of the
she's
imagination.
not in full service. But
What do you think
she's
she is?
definitely
A
heading in the
little
right
lab
direction.
mix?
Yeah, a little lab mix. When you start with Labradors anymore, even a true Labrador, it gets kind of tricky because there's so many breeds that have been bred in over the years.
Exactly.
There.
Sure, she's doing
I'm
good
ready to
now.
go play some ball or
She
something.
is.
She's had a long day herself. But again, a little mixture. When you start putting enough breeds together, they start looking kind of all the same. And at the training center, we call them Basher mixes because one of our trainers has a dog named Basher, and he looks very much like this, basically just a black lab mix. And what we've found is if you start putting enough breeds together and mixing them up, this is pretty much the template of
Basher
what you
mix.
get. The Basher mix.
Like that.
Or the Kentuckiana Ridgeback, as we've coined it from time to time.
Oh, how funny.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that. So what is the process, once again, since we addressed this at the beginning of the hour and it's 11 minutes till, so there's a bunch of new listeners. What is the process for putting in your application to get a service dog from Dogs Helping Heroes?
If you are a wounded veteran or first responder, you can go to dogshelpingheroes.org and you can click
I'm going to put this on my Facebook page too, so
That'd be great. Thank
anybody
you.
who needs it can get it there.
You can click the Apply Now button, which is on the top of the page. You can then download our application. On the application, then once you fill that out, you will send it in to us at P.O. Box 2126, Clarksville, Indiana, 47131. We do service within 200 miles of the Kentuckiana area, so Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Nashville. So even if you're in that area, it's perfectly fine. If you have any questions, you can contact us through our website, email, information@dogshelpingheroes.org. You can also call us at 812-329-0244.
And I'm going to get
all.
Now Lexi is comforting John.
Yeah.
John, you couldn't have a nerve left in your body with these two climbing all over you. They're she's just trying so hard. She's a good girl.
You've almost made it.
I'm going to write all the rest of this information down, telephone number and mailing address and everything else on my Facebook page when we finish, because that'll give you the chance to get in touch with us. David Benson and John Wells here talking about Dogs Helping Heroes. And David's the executive director. John is one of the veterans that received a dog. And as we were covering just briefly before, veterans pay $0.
Correct.
But it's going to cost a lot of money to get the dogs trained. And I know that you, being an expert dog trainer yourself, are probably putting in many extra hours overtime when you're not getting paid by your day job to train these animals yourself, David.
And it's a life experience for me. You know, I've been training dogs a long time, but there's nothing better for me than to watch a person like John and our other veterans really come back to life. And these dogs that have been abandoned in Cash's case or with Lexi, you know, that was found wandering in the woods. You know, you take these unfortunate situations and you turn them into something that helps better society and better people. And that's the community effort that I'd really like to continue to do. And that's why I'm one of the reasons I'm on this earth. If I can continue to help people and give back and add value to people's lives, that's really all I want to do.
Well, you're doing a really good job of it.
Well,
I just
you.
have to tell you right now. Do you guys have any kind of fundraising going on, or do you have events that you're planning on being at
We
in
do.
the next short while? that we can give to people?
The biggest giving day of the year is September 15th. It is Give Local Louisville, the community foundation. And basically in Give Local Louisville, it's 24 hours of giving, and we are looking to match a very kind $10,000 donation that was made to us. So basically up to $10,000 is our first goal. So any of that dollar amount, any dollar amount that you donate will be matched up to $10,000.
That's incredible.
And so we're very excited for that. And that's September 15th, all day long. There'll be a big event midday down at 4th Street Live.
I'm going to be there.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to be
I'm
there for
excited.
Bridgehaven, so I'll come over and see you.
That'd be fantastic.
That's
We'd
so
love to
much
see you.
fun.
That'd be exciting.
Will you be with us, John?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
Cass
Cash,
and I'll be
too.
there.
Yep.
And by that time, little Lexi will stop peeping.
We will take out the peeper.
My dogs peep. Brady peeps all the time.
Yep.
He's so funny when he wants my attention. If he wakes up, he sleeps with me, and so does Gracie. But he sleeps with me, and he'll wake up and he'll have his head on my arm. And as soon as he realizes that I'm just starting to come out of my slumber, he'll start peeping because he wants me to scratch his chest.
It's time.
He starts
time.
talking to
It's
me.
he-
I mean, he yawns and he gets this tone, and
Does it sound like Shamu the killer whale?
he keeps doing it. I'll do it back, and he'll do it back, and it'll go on for 10 minutes, and then he'll
I
finally
do
want
the
to go
same
outside.
thing. We're crazy.
Yeah,
We are completely crazy.
But it's all in good fun.
It is in
to
good
me,
fun.
you know, the veterans that are out there, if you're having problems, you just don't know how much these dogs do for you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you got the time, you need to check into it, because it's phenomenal what these dogs, how they make you feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have problems when I go to places, no matter where it is. I have a problem going there
Sure.
and going in the door. Once I get comfortable, I do a little bit better. I mean, it will never go away, but just kind of learn to live with it. But he makes it so much easier.
I was going to say he
Fantastic.
probably reduces a lot of that stress, doesn't
Oh,
he?
yeah.
And I'll tell you, one of the funniest things and best things about having a dog when you're out in public, if you get uncomfortable in a public place, is looking down at them and thinking, I think they have to pee. And the next thing you know, whoop, you get to exit stage right, and nobody can argue with it.
Nobody's going to say a word.
And you're outside relaxing and taking a little stress off. So
Yeah.
that's one of the escape routes of having a service dog.
Yeah, I had that problem 2-3 weeks ago.
You had to pee?
No, not that problem, but I was having a conversation at a meeting, and this one guy come out and said that my dog and the other dogs that were there were not service dogs.
What?
I lit up.
I bet you did.
And I went after the guy, and I was so upset by what he was saying, and he did not know anything of what he was. It was like he just skipped through a book and and got a few pieces out. And I went across the table at him.
Didn't
Yeah.
actually hit him,
I
thank
did
God.
not hit-
Did
did
you
not
say,
hit
"Sick
him"?
'em, Cash,
I
sick
mean,
'em"?
everybody thought I was, but it took me about 10 minutes of Cash doing the at ease before I calmed down.
He just got up to do it again.
And I didn't get out
love
of
him.
I didn't get out of it till I looked in his eyes, and that made me see what I was doing wrong, and that calmed me down. So
So as soon as you said those words, he got up
Yep. He comes to attention.
and he put his
He's
paws
working.
on your leg. And now he's watching David to make sure that he's doing the right thing. How long have you had him, John?
it's just about a year and 3 months.
Wow, he's just amazing. Well, you cannot imagine the beauty of these animals and the work that Cash is doing with John unless you can see it for yourselves. And you know, I wish that I had a brighter situation in this room that you could see the intensity of this dog's personality, because he is so attached to his master. And John, you're attached to him. And here comes Lexi to give her love to David, who's obviously
She wants to
nervous
peep
at this
on the
point.
radio.
She wants peep,
Yeah,
peep.
he's going to be
Go
jealous.
ahead. Peep, peep.
Little peep in there.
Yeah.
Sit.
Cash is like, but I'm a bigger star. I've been fully trained. I'm a much bigger star than Lexi. She's only started in this process.
In training, she is.
So dogshelpingheroes.org, and once again, South 3rd Street. You can walk into the Veterans Center anytime that you want to, and you can visit with
Right.
with my friend John Wells and his buddies. And all you have to do is be a veteran.
Yeah.
What about if you're a family member of a veteran and you're seeking help?
You know, I don't know. I've never gotten into that part.
No.
They did have some programs for PTSD
She's tearing the place apart.
families, and it was very helpful to the families. Don't realize what the guys are going through with the PTSD, and I think it really helped out immensely.
I can imagine it would.
And in the light of that, one other thing that our organization is in pursuit of doing, we're in the beginning stages, is helping Gold Star families. Gold Star families are families of fallen heroes.
Oh.
There is a type of service dog which is called, it's not a true all-access service dog, but an emotional support animal.
Right.
An emotional support animal, what my hope is to get emotional support animals into Gold Star families to help with the grieving process.
Yeah, what a great idea.
It's in its beginning stages, and it's something that I think will take off with some time, energy, and effort put in.
I'm sorry, I'm totally breaking everyone's concentration, but we're just having a big makeout session over here. She's loving every second of it. So Lexi is with us, Cash is with us, John Wells, and David Benson. Thank you so much. David, your dad's been trying to get us together for somewhere short of a year, I think, and so little did he know.
It happened.
Little did he know that we were friends way before this. And John, you and I are going to sit down and figure out how we know each other too.
We can do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. Do you guys live in the neighborhood?
No.
I live in St.
Indiana.
Matthews,
You live in
up by
St. Matthews?
Wagner High School.
Really? How interesting. Well, there's got to be a connection there. Do you work any place that I would know about?
No, I didn't.
No.
Not working at all.
No, okay.
I installed bleachers and basketball goals and playgrounds for 20-something years.
Did you?
Yes.
Wow. As an independent contractor, or did you work for
Well,
somebody?
I was a foreman, supervisor.
Cool.
So
Very cool. Well, I'm glad to see you doing well. Glad to see the great relationship you and Johnny Cash have. Major. Sergeant.
very much.
Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major. And I'm glad to see that Lexi is going to be doing well, too.
Yep.
And you know what? I just have to ask this one more question with 1 minute to go.
Uh-huh.
Is Cash working off only visual signals from John, or can he smell changes? Seriously, I mean, because I know that there are animals that can sense diabetic and epileptic issues. Does he sense a change in him with any of his other senses, or is it strictly visual?
There are some studies that are saying that the biochemical change and also the electromagnetic change in the body dogs can detect. They haven't been able to prove that yet. What I have found is a diabetic person, when they get into a diabetic episode, their body language changes. Dogs pick up on body language.
Interesting.
An epileptic typically will have a little tick before they actually have a seizure.
Right.
So those are the types of things that dogs typically pick up on. But
Absolutely
I would not put it
incredible.
across the amazing canine to have the ability to smell the differences either.
Wow, he's an amazing dog. And you guys are amazing, too. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
very
with us
much.
on Waggin Wednesday.
Yes, it is.
Thank
And we
you.
will have you back again because this has been so delightful. And next time we will set up a big white screen of some sort.
All right.
And
Look
we will
forward to
pose
it.
them in front of it like the supermodels that they are.
Well, thank you very much,
Closing our hour with Nick Pay again. And then Brian Beckfar is coming in. He is an accompanist to the stars. He tours with Michael Bolton.
Wow.
And I know. He's a big deal.
That's awesome.
And he's doing a concert here tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, Thursday night at the Nazareth Home with a wonderful young singer who has multiple disabilities and is absolutely amazing. So I'm so looking forward to hearing him in concert. But tonight we've got him just for a few minutes, and we're going to take advantage of that. Glad we were here on Waggin Wednesday with us, coming back in just a few minutes. And we also want to thank David Benson and thank John Wells for being here with us for Dogs Helping Heroes on Crescent Hill Radio.
I wake up 9:30. The sun is shining and I'm feeling fine. I get up.
Amazing. And I want to hear, I mean, I know about Marlena, but I want to hear more about you first. I want you to introduce
Tara.
yourself to the world of Crescent Hill Radio.
Tara, thank you for the invitation.
Thank
to be
you
here.
for being here with
It's
me. My
great to be
gosh,
here.
it's so exciting.
Yeah.
So you're back for a second round
Yes.
of
Well,
entertaining.
Actually, third concert
Third.
at Nazareth.
Oh, good.
And we do one concert each year in December at the